Be me, 21, professional virgin, and social outcast. Live with 3 Chad roommates who bring different girls home every weekend. They constantly roast me about being single and never getting laid. Dude, when was the last time you even talked to a girl? Tyler asks during dinner. Does ordering pizza count? I respond pathetically. They all laugh and shake their heads in disappointment. Decide, I need to do something about my reputation as the forever alone guy. Remember seeing ads for those girlfriend rental services online? Think maybe if I hire someone for a few hours, I can take some photos and fake having a relationship. Find this website called Companion for Hire. That seems legit enough. Browse through profiles of various girls offering different services. Most of them look like Instagram models way out of my league. Find this one girl named Emma, who seems more normal and down to earth. Her profile says she's 20, studies art, and enjoys nerdy stuff like anime and video games. Perfect cover story since my roommates know I'm into that weird shit. Book a 4-hour session for this weekend and pay way too much money. Tell my roommates I'm bringing my girlfriend over to meet them. Bullshit, Marcus says. You've never mentioned having a girlfriend. We've been dating long distance, I lie. She's finally visiting. They're skeptical, but agree to be cool about it. Spend the entire week planning what we're going to do and say, write out a whole backstory about how we met online. Gaming. Saturday comes and I'm nervous as hell waiting for her to arrive. Doorbell rings and I open it to find this cute girl with short brown hair and glasses. She's wearing jeans and a Pokemon t-shirt, which is perfect for the nerdy girlfriend act. Hi, you must be Anon, she says with a genuinely warm smile. I'm Emma, ready to be your fake girlfriend for the day? Her casual approach puts me at ease immediately. Bring her inside and introduce her to the roommates, who are clearly impressed. She plays the part perfectly, holding my hand and calling me cute nicknames. Babe, you didn't tell me your friends were so funny, she says after Tyler makes a joke. We spend the afternoon playing video games and watching anime. She actually knows what she's talking about and isn't just pretending. Wait, you've actually seen Cowboy Bebop? I ask, genuinely surprised. Are you kidding? It's only one of the greatest anime series ever made, she responds. Start to forget this is all fake because she seems so genuinely interested in the same things I like. My roommates are buying it completely and keep complimenting me later. Dude, she's awesome, Derek says. How did you manage to find her? Guess I got lucky, I say, feeling weird about lying to them. Emma and I take some photos together for social media proof. She's really good at making them look natural and couple-like. Put your arm around me, she instructs, and try to look like you actually like me. That's not hard, I say without thinking, then immediately feel awkward. She laughs. Smooth talker, aren't you? The 4 hours fly by faster than I expected. When it's time for her to leave, I actually feel disappointed. This was really fun, she says at the door. Your roommates are great. Yeah, thanks for everything, I reply. You're really good at this. She gives me a quick hug goodbye and says she hopes everything works out. Spend the next week basking in my roommates' newfound respect. They keep asking when Emma's coming back to visit. She's busy with school. I make excuses knowing I can't afford another session, but I can't stop thinking about how natural everything felt with her. Decide to book another session the following weekend. Tell myself it's just to maintain the charade with my roommates, but deep down, I know I just want to see her again. This time we go out to dinner and a movie like a real couple. She's even more relaxed and we have amazing conversations about everything. You know, she says over dinner, this doesn't feel like work anymore. What do you mean? I ask, though I think I know. Usually these gigs are pretty awkward, she explains, but you're actually cool to hang out with. Feel my heart skip a beat because I've been thinking the same thing. After the movie, we walk around downtown talking about life and our dreams. She tells me about her art and how she's struggling to pay for college. I tell her about my computer science degree and my plans after graduation. You're going to do great things, she says. I can tell you're one of the good ones. When I drop her off, she hesitates before getting out of the car. Same time next week? She asks with a hopeful smile. Definitely, I say, probably too eagerly. This becomes our regular thing for the next month. Book her every weekend and we do couple activities around the city. My roommates are convinced we're in a serious relationship now. When are you going to make it official? Tyler asks. What do you mean? I respond nervously. Like, when are you going to ask her to be your girlfriend officially? Realize I'm living in a complete fantasy at this point. Emma and I are getting closer, but I'm literally paying her to spend time with me. Start to develop real feelings, which makes everything complicated. During one of our sessions, we're cuddling on my couch watching Netflix. She falls asleep with her head on my shoulder and looks so peaceful. Resist the urge to play with her hair or do anything weird. When she wakes up, she seems embarrassed. Sorry, I didn't mean to fall asleep. It's okay, I tell her. You looked comfortable. She gives me this look I can't quite read. Maybe too comfortable. Things start getting confusing because our interactions feel increasingly real. She starts texting me between sessions just to chat about random stuff. Saw this meme and thought you'd like it, she'll say, sending funny pictures. My roommates notice I'm always smiling at my phone now. You're really smitten with this girl, Marcus observes. If only he knew I was paying her by the hour to tolerate my existence. Decide I need to tell her how I really feel, but don't know how. Book what I plan to be. Our last session, because I can't afford to keep this up. Take her to this nice restaurant and try to work up the courage. Emma, I start nervously, I need to tell you something. What is it? She asks, looking concerned. I think I'm falling for you, I blurt out. Like, for real. She goes quiet for a long moment, and I immediately regret saying anything. Anon, she says softly. This is complicated. I know you're just doing your job, I continue, but it feels like more than that. That's the problem, she responds. It does feel like more. We sit in awkward silence while I process what she just said. So what does that mean? I ask hopefully. I don't know, she admits. I've never had a client become this. Decide to take a risk and suggest we try dating for real. What if we just hung out sometime without the business arrangement? And she considers this for a moment. Like a real date? Exactly like a real date, I confirm. She smiles. I'd like that. We agree to meet the following weekend as ourselves, not client and service provider. Spend the entire week nervous and excited about our first real date. When Saturday comes, I pick her up from her actual apartment. She looks beautiful in a simple sundress and no makeup. This feels weird, she admits as we walk to the restaurant. Good weird or bad weird, I ask. Good weird, she says, taking my hand naturally. Dinner goes perfectly and we talk for hours about everything and nothing. Afterwards, we walk through the park under the stars. I'm glad you said something, she tells me. I was hoping you felt the same way. Lean in to kiss her, and this time it's not part of any performance. It's soft and genuine and everything I imagined it would be. We start dating officially after that, and things are amazing. My roommates are thrilled that I finally made it official with Emma. She starts staying over regularly and fits into my life perfectly. Months pass and we're happier than I ever thought possible. She meets my family and they love her immediately. She's perfect for you, my mom says after dinner. Everything seems too good to be true, which makes me paranoid. Start worrying that she's still just playing a role and will eventually leave. These insecurities start affecting our relationship. I become clingy and constantly need reassurance that her feelings are real. Why do you keep asking if I really like you? She asked one night. Because this all started as fake, I admit. Sometimes I forget what's real. Yet she gets frustrated. Everything we have now is real. You need to trust that. But the doubt continues to eat away at me. One day she seems distant and I immediately assume the worst. Are you getting tired of me? I asked during dinner. Anon, please stop, she says, clearly annoyed. You're going to leave me eventually, I continue. Everyone always does. She looks hurt by my accusation. Why would you say that? Because I'm not worth staying for, I respond pathetically. She stands up from the table looking upset. I can't keep having the same conversation, she says. Maybe we need some space to figure things out. My worst fears are confirmed and I start panicking. Please don't leave me, I beg. I'll stop being insecure. It's not about being insecure, she explains. It's about you not trusting me. She leaves that night and doesn't respond to my texts for 3 days. Assume our relationship is over and fall into a deep depression. My roommates notice something is wrong, but I can't explain the situation. On the 4th day, she shows up at my apartment unannounced. She looks like she's been crying and I immediately fear the worst. We need to talk, she says seriously. Invite her in and prepare for the breakup speech. Instead, she sits down and takes my hands in hers. I've been thinking about everything you said, she begins, about how you think everyone leaves you. Nod miserably, waiting for her to confirm my fears. The truth is, she continues, I was abandoned too. Look up surprised because she's never mentioned her past before. My parents gave me up when I was 7, she says with tears in her eyes. I bounced around foster homes until I aged out of the system. That's why I started the escort work, to pay for school and survive. I feel terrible for being so focused on my own insecurities. I understand the fear of abandonment, she says, but we can't let it destroy us. She starts crying harder because the truth is, I love you. And I'm just as scared as you are that this will all fall apart. Without thinking, I pull her into my arms and hold her tight. She breaks down completely, sobbing into my chest. Promise me you'll never leave me, she whispers between tears. Promise me we'll figure this out together. Feel my own tears starting to fall as I hold her closer. I promise, I tell her, I'm not going anywhere. I love you too, I add, more than I've ever loved anyone. We stay like that for what feels like hours, just holding each other. When she finally looks up at me, her eyes are red but hopeful. We're both pretty messed up, aren't we? She says with a weak smile. Perfect match then, I reply, wiping her tears away. She laughs despite everything, and I lean down to kiss her. This kiss tastes like tears and promises and new beginnings that feel when you realize love isn't about perfect people finding each other. My face. When two broken people can create something beautiful together. BME23, professional doormat and relationship pushover. Dating this girl, Chloe, for 8 months, who treats me like her personal entertainment system. She's constantly complaining that I'm too predictable and never do anything exciting. Every weekend she wants to go out to expensive bars and clubs that drain my bank account. Meanwhile, I just want to stay home, order pizza, and watch Netflix like a normal human being. But no, apparently that makes me boring and lacking adventure. She's always comparing me to her ex-boyfriend, who was apparently some kind of adrenaline junkie. Jake used to take me skydiving, she says for the millionth time. Jake bought me surprise trips to Vegas, she continues. Well, excuse me, princess, but some of us work minimum wage jobs and can't afford spontaneous vacations. She never contributes money to these expensive outings either, just expects me to pay for everything. My credit card debt is climbing faster than a monkey up a tree, but I put up with it because she's the first girl who's ever shown interest in my pathetic existence. She's objectively attractive and way out of my league, so I figured I should be grateful. Constantly walking on eggshells, trying not to upset her or give her reasons to leave. She has this habit of making passive-aggressive comments about everything I do. Most guys would have planned something special for our 6-month anniversary, she says. Meanwhile, I bought her flowers and a nice dinner, but apparently that wasn't creative enough. She rolls her eyes when I suggest movie nights or cooking together. That's what old married couples do, she complains. We're supposed to be having fun. My idea of fun apparently doesn't align with her need for constant stimulation and chaos. She's always on her phone taking selfies and posting stories about how bored she is. Sometimes she doesn't even bother hiding the messages from other guys, calls them just friends. But they're clearly hitting on her in the screenshots I accidentally see. My self-esteem is lower than a snake's belly at this point. Start questioning everything about myself and wondering why I'm such a disappointment. Maybe she's right, maybe I am boring and need to change my entire personality. Begin researching exciting date ideas and planning elaborate surprises I can't afford. Sign up for rock climbing classes even though I'm afraid of heights. Book a weekend camping trip despite being allergic to nature and mosquitoes. She seems moderately impressed, but immediately starts planning the next adventure. This is more like it, she says, but we should do something even crazier next time. The goalpost keeps moving further away no matter how hard I try to reach it. My savings account is completely depleted from trying to keep her entertained. Start picking up extra shifts at work just to fund her expensive taste and experiences. Meanwhile, she's unemployed and living off her parents' money while judging my lifestyle. The irony is completely lost on her entitled ass. One evening, we're at her apartment and she's scrolling through Instagram, looking bored as hell. I suggest we watch this documentary I found about serial killers. Ugh, that sounds depressing, she says without even looking up from her phone. Can't we do something fun for once instead of just sitting around like corpses? Something inside me finally snaps like a twig under pressure. What exactly do you want me to do? I ask, trying to keep my voice calm. We went hiking last weekend, rock climbing the weekend before, and that expensive concert you wanted to see. She looks annoyed that I'm even questioning her. Those were good starts, but you still default to boring shit. Maybe if you contributed some ideas or money occasionally, we could do more exciting things, I say. Her face immediately turns hostile. Excuse me? Are you seriously complaining about spending money on your girlfriend? I'm not complaining, I explain, but my credit card is maxed out and you never offer to pay for anything. That's what boyfriends are supposed to do, she snaps. Provide for their girlfriends and make them happy. But what do you provide besides constant criticism and demands for entertainment? I ask. She looks genuinely shocked that I would dare question the dynamic of our relationship. I provide companionship and affection, she says like it's the most obvious thing in the world. You mean the companionship where you're on your phone half the time we're together? And the affection that comes with a list of conditions and requirements? Her eyes narrow, and I can see the anger building. Are you calling me a bad girlfriend? I'm saying this relationship feels one-sided as hell, I tell her honestly. I'm constantly trying to change myself to make you happy, while you contribute nothing but complaints. She stands up dramatically like she's about to deliver some devastating comeback. Well, maybe if you were naturally interesting, I wouldn't have to ask you to try so hard. Maybe if you had a personality beyond being attractive, you'd understand what boring actually means. The words come out before I can stop them, and the room goes completely silent. She stares at me like I just slapped her across the face. Did you just call me boring? She asks in disbelief. I called you shallow, I clarify. There's a difference. You spend all day on social media complaining about being bored instead of developing any actual interests. You've never read a book, you hate documentaries, you think museums are stupid. But somehow I'm the boring one because I don't want to blow my entire paycheck on weekend adventures. She's getting visibly angry now, her face turning red with indignation. At least I'm not content living like a hermit and doing the same thing every day. At least I have ambition and want to experience life instead of hiding from it. Hiding from life? I laugh. You mean like having a job and responsibilities? You mean like caring about something other than Instagram likes and expensive experiences? We're both standing now, facing off like we're about to start throwing punches. You know what? She says, maybe we're just not compatible. Maybe you need someone who's content being a boring homebody forever. And maybe you need someone who can afford to be your personal entertainment director, I shoot back. Someone who doesn't have student loans and rent to worry about. The truth hangs in the air between us like a toxic cloud. We both realize simultaneously that this relationship has been doomed from the start. She wants someone exciting and adventurous with unlimited funds for spontaneous adventures. I want someone who can be happy with simple pleasures and doesn't need constant stimulation. So what are we doing here? She asks, her voice losing some of its anger. Honestly, I say, I think we both know this isn't working. I'm tired of feeling like I'm failing some test every day. And you're obviously not getting what you need from this relationship either. She sits back down and for the first time in months, looks genuinely thoughtful. You're probably right, she admits. I have been pretty demanding, and you've been trying really hard to make me happy, even when it stressed you out. It's the most honest conversation we've had since we started dating. I think we just want different things, I tell her, and that's okay. You should be with someone who naturally enjoys the same adventures you do. And I should be with someone who doesn't think staying in is a personal failure. She nods slowly. So we're breaking up? I think so, I say, but like, as friends who figured out we're not right for each other. Not as enemies who hate each other for being different people. She actually smiles a little. That's probably the most mature thing either of us has said tonight. We spend the next hour talking about where things went wrong without attacking each other. Turns out she felt pressure to be constantly entertained because she was afraid I'd get bored of her. And I felt pressure to be someone I wasn't because I was afraid she'd leave me for being myself. We were both performing versions of ourselves that we thought the other person wanted. This is actually kind of relieving, she says. I was getting exhausted trying to prove I was worth expensive dates. And I was getting exhausted trying to prove I was worth dating, I admit. We agree to end things on good terms and stay friendly if we see each other around. Pack up the few things I kept at her place and give her back the spare key. Drive home feeling lighter than I have in months, like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Call Kevin and explain what happened, expecting him to be disappointed. Dude, that's awesome, he says. You've been miserable for months trying to be someone you're not. Now you can go back to being yourself instead of some fake adventure guy. Spend the next few weeks rediscovering what I actually enjoy doing. Start reading again. Something I gave up because she thought books were boring. Begin cooking elaborate meals for myself instead of always eating out. Sign up for a photography class because I'm genuinely interested, not because it might impress someone. My bank account starts recovering from months of expensive date funding. Realize how much stress I was carrying from constantly trying to be entertaining. Start hanging out with friends I neglected while I was busy being Chloe's entertainment system. They all mention how much happier and more relaxed I seem. You were getting pretty uptight there for a while, Kevin observes. Always worried about planning the next big adventure or whatever. Begin working out regularly. not to impress anyone, but because it makes me feel better. Take up hiking alone, which turns out to be way more peaceful than doing it with someone who's documenting every moment for social media. My mental health improves dramatically without the constant pressure to perform. Realize that being called boring by someone whose idea of depth is reality TV isn't actually an insult. Start appreciating the simple pleasures that she always dismissed as inadequate. Cooking a good meal, having meaningful conversations, reading interesting books, watching documentaries without someone sighing dramatically every 5 minutes. 3 months later, I see Chloe at a coffee shop with some new guy. He's clearly the adventurous type, covered in tattoos with expensive outdoor gear. She looks happy but also slightly exhausted, trying to keep up with his energy. We nod politely to each other but don't stop to chat. Realize I have zero desire to go back to that dynamic. My face when I understand that being single and content is better than being coupled and constantly stressed. That feel when you realize compatibility matters more than attraction. Decide to focus on self-improvement and hobbies instead of jumping into another relationship. Maybe eventually I'll meet someone who thinks staying in with pizza and Netflix sounds perfect. But until then, I'm perfectly happy being my boring self without apologizing for it. That feel when you finally stop trying to be someone else's idea of interesting.